Coding overload. Wow. Coding overload? Why? What's your actual problem, man? Anyway, can I hear myself? Can I have the privilege of hearing myself? Uh, Hello? Can you actually let me hear myself? Can I can I do that? Where is the audio here? What's up? Wow, it works. I have audio. Yeah. No. Wait. It's yes. Okay, there it is. Sorry. I can now. It works. It seems to be functioning. Also, I should probably I don't know try to not as much. I don't even know what's the word was. Basically that thing. Anyway, uh, I have to change one image. I have to also. I had a title. I had some ideas. We are slowly healing. I guess I don't know. I will use that word. But yeah, we are doing slowly. That's that's the idea. So yeah, we are fine basically. Also, image order transform reset transform. Yeah. Now let me edit this. Uh, what's up? It's working. It seems to be working. Uh, I don't know. And yes, it has been like such a while since the last time that we were actually here. How much has it been? Like an entire week almost? It feels like that at least. But yeah. Anyway, let me. Okay. I have an idea. Let me actually try to get some liquid water. That thing that you use to drink. That thing. Get that and after that here probably more. Good evening, Christian. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. After what was I saying? Yeah, get some water. Like get an entire bottle instead of just like a quarter of a bottle. I don't know, something like that. Also, this is like completely unrelated, but it happened that we have what is it? Every human being seems to be contaminated with plastic in their blood. What a crazy thing. We don't talk about that enough. Anyways. Also, no, wait. This says that the connection is unstable. What's actually up with this? Why does it say that, brother? My end is working. What's going on with you, Twitch? Uh, it's literally not on my end, the problem, so I don't know. Let me. Now? I restart and it works. Okay. Twitch has been fucky. I will leave it. I will leave it so much. I just realized the chat doesn't work for some reason. The what is it? The on stream on my own screen. That one doesn't work. Let me. I don't even have that many accounts. How do I not remember which one do I have to remove a name? Where is refresh, brother? What? Here refresh. Okay. Let me see. Does it work? Does it actually not work? Is this at all not going to work? The test. Yeah. No. There it is. There it is. Yeah, so okay. Let me. That's genius. In relation to what? Anyways, the point is, let me get some water, and after that, yeah, we are properly starting here. So no. Ah, man, I love Twitch. It's dying, but it doesn't matter. What did you mean by that? Also, I'm back. Wait, I got a candy and it stuck to the roof of anyways, it's so uncomfortable. Anyways, doesn't matter. Uh, Good evening. Good morning. I cannot roll my R's. Anyway, don't worry. It's just temporal. Good good day. Good good. Oh my god. It's I'm fucking dying. It's good actually. Doesn't matter. But yeah, here we are. After like uh uh, uh just a little bit, we're back. I'm turning into Vetsman. Good show. Have a good rest. Try not try it. It will unavoidably happen. So I don't know. Consciously uh, get yourself recovered. That's part of, yeah. I guess that's the most important thing is mindfully. Not asking. Oh wow, yeah. Have to spend the next 5 hours thinking about it before doing it, but rather with the intentionality of actually getting a result out of it. Rest, think, and I don't know. I don't even know. I was asking myself. I don't know if I did say it or not. Welcome and thank you for being here, Caspian. I hope you are well also, and I hope that's. I guess yeah, the tiredness gets to pass. It's more yeah. My proper view really is just it gets to be something that can be solved through your own actions. That makes it at least for me more sense than to just say, "Oh well, yeah." What? I mean, also, why is the microphone so low on volume? Sorry. But than to just say, oh yeah, you know what, you can't get, nah, trust in the process, basically. And things will go in the right direction. But yeah, I don't know. Here we are. After a little bit, I know what I forgot to, like every other, not every other, every single Tuesday. There is a schedule probably. Doesn't really matter. I don't know what I actually forgot. I think it's like a real problem. I should probably try to always remember. I think okay, I can explain it like this. I have the tendency to, you know, grab stuff and do it not exactly as late as possible. It's not that's the intention, but it's more about, yeah, you know what? It might take a little bit. So I end up not realizing that it's incredibly late. So when I end up actually doing it, I end up being here incredibly, not exactly being here, but rather, well, actually, yeah, today is incredibly late. But in general, I guess I delay stuff way too much, so it happens that I forget to do all that is related to that, I guess. But it doesn't really matter. The point is, here we are, so that's more than enough. It's, I mean, yeah, even if there is delay and whatnot, that works now too, so everything is fine, I guess. We have all that is fundamental to us. Also, I just realized we have the same getting, the one that the chat messages use, and the one that the text that I always have above my head uses. They're the same kind of green or very similar. Wow, I'm so professional. I never realized I did that. Anyway, the point is, yeah, here we are. I don't know, promises? Is it really necessary to make that many promises? The point is, there is a schedule. I don't think we can truly avoid following it. I don't think it's necessary to do that. I guess the only real question is to see if today there wasn't just in case something like, oh yeah, we have to read, we have to. Let me actually check. Um, the double. It's intentional. Everything is intentional. Everything is intentional. Every, like me vanishing. Sorry, it wasn't intentional. But let me get myself back on screen. Thank you. There we go. The real experience. Wait, I can make the tinier one, the bigger one disappear. Which one? The upper one. The upper one is the original one, you know. So maybe that one shouldn't go. Maybe that one is the one that has to actually go. We never know. We are. Let me see. Let me try to actually find the text file first and foremost. There it is. There we go. We have the tiny version. Thank you. But I was saying, what I was saying? Was I actually saying something? I think I wasn't. Oh yeah, we have a schedule. It's working. We have other things to do. It's also fine. Also, thank you for the look. Gracias. How was tonight? And I don't know, things to be and or not to be. That is no more the question. We're finally here. We're finally slowly getting, I say, more consistent with all of this. So it's finally getting to feel properly good. The only actual next hill to climb is to properly get to continue or not to continue, to allow ourselves to persist in the efforts of persevering in itself, in the process of doing everything that has any kind of relationship to, yeah, everything that I guess this tiny corner that we might proclaim as hours of internet allows, in the sense of mostly actually trying to be here more. Not in terms, okay, not more presence. We are, okay, I finally found a proper sweet spot in terms of how much we can be here and what not. It seems to be the most optimal schedule possible, what we have actually, so that's Gucci. The next thing to work is, though, uh, I actually have to try to also be more here. I guess it's complicated, more than anything else, I don't know. It's funny to see something that I have been thinking about it and I haven't seen it happen quite a lot. It doesn't really need to be that long. We don't actually have an obligation to be here for, I don't know, 5 hours to say something useful. I have actually seen many interesting ideas be expressed in, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 5 minutes. It's the importance in itself is not in the duration of how much we get to be here, but rather, I guess, in the accumulation of things themselves that we get to say throughout the whole duration of this. It's like, I don't want to say that it is a proper role of. I'm not a teacher, as always. I don't want to proclaim that I shall occupy that position, but something along the lines of, just getting to be and to discuss stuff in that whole mode of understanding of, yeah, we can actually, I don't know, think out of stuff. Is that a proper supposition? It's not like it cannot happen anywhere else, but it's, I guess, in a different way. Just allow the different mode of considering of interacting. How would you say it actually? Of processing information, I guess, that spaces in this case like this one allows to propagate themselves more through time. I guess, yeah, something along those lines. I guess it's always a complicated discussion also because I don't know. I understand where I personally come from or for that whole idea, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Sadly, we don't truly talk about it in general. We don't have that much of a tendency to at all discuss things in a proper way of, you know, we need to have places. In this case, my proposition is to have a place in which we can talk about ideas and in which it can be a more open process and not so limited or not so rare to find action, the one of pondering intentionally on things instead of being sort of forced or pushed to the action itself of thinking as a consequence of the modes of existence that we occupy. Rather, a different alignment with the whole idea of, yeah, you know what? We have our own existence, therefore, we can, mm, during a certain limited amount of time, we can delineate ourselves to just a very construed space in which the action itself that happens is not much more than just to think out things. Not much more needs to be. We could actually try to warn ourselves about many other parts of this, I guess, but they are not at all true obligations. They are just other parts of subtext that might not improve the action itself that we are truly trying to perform. That is to think. And to think once, and as I said, intentionally. Intentfully? Something along those lines, basically. But yeah. And I don't know. I think it's fine. On the other hand, it's very good to see that, yeah, as always, it's, I think I unavoidably repeat myself way too much. I guess at least, I don't know, once a month probably we hear about this, but yeah, it's nice to see that we can talk about this stuff here and that we can be here. I know you would assume that based on the amount of censorship and whatnot that we see being proclaimed anywhere else, places, corners of internet like this one wouldn't be available and blah 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 blah. I don't know. I am still incredibly happy by about seeing that this all of this is still available. So it's always, as long as it isn't like, I don't know, overwhelming, it's good to see that we can actually say and we can actually rejoice in the realization that, yeah, here we are and we get to continue in here. It's one of those benefits of existence that otherwise go unnoticed. The part itself of being that otherwise does not get considered in terms of, oh wow, yeah, you know, it is truly a nice thing to be here. Not because, oh wow, yeah, yeah. No, there is actually nothing more to do. Therefore, this is the only available option, and this becomes the only actual choice to take. Thus, it doesn't truly constitute a true statement to say that it is good to be here, but rather it is just an yeah, an obligatory statement in terms of, oh, wow, yeah, this thing that we do is good because unavoidably it is all that we can do. It is the best that we get to do with our own existence. It's not that particular mode of understanding it. It's more like, oh yeah, you know what? It's in the freedom of existence. It actually is the choice to do everything else, but still find it in one to instead try to act in ways like this one, I guess. And similar choices of that sort that once again start here can be seen, found, or contrasted in many other cases. So yeah, it's all of this is good and all of this is very very nice. But once again, yeah, it's just a basic idea. I don't know why am I actually spending so much time saying why is it good. I guess it's just as always. It feels like so long since the last occasion that we get to talk. So slowly things start to build up. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't actually be so common, but I unavoidably end up also mismanaging my own time, my own ways, and whatnot. So when we find ourselves here gathered every single occasion, it also becomes a very evident realization that we are actually enjoying the fruits of many other things besides just being here. It's like, I don't know. Personally, I can see it as this thing of, oh wow, yeah, you have this group of friends that you only get to see once a year or twice. Okay, in not in unavoidably, not at all in terms of the rareness of the occasions that we get to be here, but in the distance of every single occasion, there could be a noticeable gap. And it gets to feel like that, at least personally. So it's nice to always still have something constant like this existing. It's like that nice thing of possessing at least some certainty, I guess, to find, yeah, enjoyment in being and what's not. So yeah, that's very good. That's more than anything for us a major signal of things going well, I guess. But yeah, um, the point is, here we are after I don't know some little bit And yeah, there are way too many things as always to talk about. So I hope, as always, that it can go in the right direction. I don't know. I will also let me state it so that it doesn't go unnoticed. Yeah, I don't even remember exactly what was the context of somebody saying, "Wow, you tend to repeat yourself. You have the filler of saying, I don't know." And yeah, I am slowly trying to work on that. I guess it's complicated. It also serves like way too many purposes to have stuff like that instead of your own speech, at least in my case. So sorry if I unavoidably have it too integrated within myself. I just got accustomed to what seemed to be the easiest tool for a plethora of situations, so it's hard to actually remove it once you not see the necessity, but actually find the possibility or find it in you to at least try to actually take any control or care of the situation in itself. So yeah, sorry, but we are slowly getting there, I guess. Good luck and trust the process as always. As everything that happens here, just trust. And at some point, we will get results and we will find ourselves doing, dealing, and having better things than ever before. I, anyways, I have first and foremost thing to start with. I have been consuming way too many things lately, so excuse me, as always, if I don't exactly over things or if I left way too many ideas unfinished. It's not an obligation of mine, but it's a rather a tendency, a bad tendency, yes. But yeah, point being, what has happened so far? I don't know. No, not many things have really changed. I don't think the world has truly moved in any direction since the last time. It's yeah, trying to think back from the last Friday or so, we are actually good, I think. I don't I don't remember anything of true importance having happened in terms of, I don't know, the whole world. It's wow, yeah, I guess nice things like was it already that happened at some point in the past week? Silk Song, that's good. Movies, some good movie probably came out. Some good trailer, stuff of that sort, I assume. Some good things happened, and bad things also happened. Nothing of truly big importance came to be, I think, I remember so far. Not many world altering events are going on right now. I remember having not read, having heard something about that whole ordeal of, yeah, there are times in which humanity almost entirely seems to be at a stop. It's more common for us to not see events in these times of the year, and it's more common for us to not see any change in directions and in events and in outcomes and in general things happening, transcurring throughout existence right now. Because everything else is slowly getting set up, ordered, and yeah, all put into motion for either later this year, next year. It's these times for some reason become very um. The term itself is not exactly unproductive, but rather very low in activity. More like that, yeah. Low in activity. for a big majority of the world. I don't, in that sense, I actually mean it. I don't even know why that is so common. I think it's, can I even have any proper, probable cause for that? Traditions? I don't think so, but anyways, the point is, yeah, not many things are actually happening. The world is so far good. I don't think it's apocalypse. We'll talk about those things, but yeah, apocalypse. I don't think it's soon. It's not today that things will come to an end, I guess. So that's unavoidable. I would say something to be happy about, something to stay and find oneself in the bliss for, since the realization of nothing actually getting to be bad is in itself good. It's, we have been avoiding damage enough so that we can at least rejoice in the notion that we have no suffering of true destruction, let's say, something like that, you know? But yeah, the point is, the whole originating question of this unnecessarily long rant is, we are fine, nothing of importance happened so far, so good. Welcome, and yeah, the world is still unchanged. We are, I guess, I don't know, it's in that sense, yeah, yeah. It's complicated always to talk out those things. It's something funny about the butterfly effect that we don't truly get to comprehend. To, yeah, improper deepness is how much some minuscule actions can have an impact on everything else. So yeah, maybe, I guess, in retrospect, uh, 1 year from now on, 2 years, 5 or 10 years from now on, maybe we can look back and see, oh wow, yeah, this most certainly wonderful, important, surprising things came to be. So all of those get classified as utterly transformative or utterly astonishing things, and everything else is not at all something to, yeah, to truly bring into the spotlight. But at least, once again, we had the pleasure of seeing things moving and finding parts of life also moving themselves in other directions, you know? So, I assume some other things of importance might have already happened and we just can also realize them. It's, that's, I guess, the fun of life, that so many minor details that we end up ignoring also come to be so many wonderful parts of existence also happen. And sadly, in that sense, yeah, sadly, we don't truly have the capacity to recognize them in the moment in which they happen. We can only, the expression of, we can only see them at hindsight and whatnot, and their relevance and their impact in our own existence. But in the, what is it? In the synchronic analysis, it is impossible. In the diachronic analysis, thus, or then, it truly becomes possible for us to see how is it that everything makes sense. So it's fine, anyways. Not not that every single day needs to be filled with the most meaningful actions that we have ever taken. Sort of, I wouldn't just say unrealistic, but rather, even if it could be possible, unhealthy to always strive to live the days with the most important things always happening. there is also necessary to have some days in which even the most mundane events happen. This connection with the rest of reality doesn't come if we allow ourselves to properly see how things of the mundane, let's say, have also a necessary role in our own existence and whatnot. So it's a good, and yeah, the point is that everything so far seems to be well, and that's good enough, nice enough, I would say also. But yeah, I I think that we can say so far things are going well. Now, besides just an analysis on whatever else that has happened in life, in existence, or I guess in the grand scheme of the world, that whole unsurmountable idea of the whole human population all coexisting at once in this one timeline of ours. All of that is good, and yeah, uh, here we are. It's more than good enough. So, what is a matter that should be of actual worry in the moment to us? I don't think there is actually anything that's pressing. I can say quite confidently even that lately I don't feel that much of a pressure, I guess. I don't feel that much of an impending doom. It's, yeah, I remember having heard this expression of existential dread. It's sort of complicated to find yourself in that position of the sensation itself that existence is so chaotic that you need something to tie yourself down and to be capable of, let's say, justifying being. Doesn't get to be such a hard question or such a hard notion to be confronted with. Unavoidably, many other parts of life are given, just like in almost any other situation in terms of, yeah, if all the factors that allow for, I don't know, easiest example, I guess, if all the things that allow for depression are to get removed from the equation itself, existence wouldn't be as much of a suffering as it would be in comparison the instances in which we get to not have to worry ourselves with that, because every other thing on our list of things in life before being sad comes to take a central place in our own existence. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, you cannot have existential dread if you, I don't know, are busy 24/7, something like that. I guess the promise of modernity, the promise of how things work in a very convoluted world in which there is always something that you can entertain yourself with. Not exactly that, more along the lines of nothing's even truly bad. Something funny about perspectives is the extrapolation from the actual position which we are capable of utilizing in our own existence becomes much more visible once the action itself of observing what the human being that we ended up being ourselves is, that at some point almost everybody can, if they learn to identify what they are, easily remove from the equation all the other things that we can so easily attach ourselves to, in terms of, yeah, you know what, I have all of this I have this set of things that represent a problem for me, and I have this set of things that do not just represent an actual problem that I need to solve, but rather also a problem that troubles me in life. And it goes a little bit beyond just the analysis of things that we can try to solve, and it feels more along the lines also of with to have a very wonderful event to happen that is we need to actually also worry so much about what the problems are because it stops being a vision of oh wow yeah this troublesome situation that gets to create so much anxiety within this existence that is defined so much by my own experience of it, but rather it becomes instead this other mode of analysis of wow yeah just like in any other situation human being confronted by issues needs to deal with them. It becomes possible to solve the parts of life that are presenting now, and after that it becomes even more feasible to solve all the other things that we can also already identify, not just as problems, but rather as indicators of possibilities. That those, I guess, this set of things that are in between, what are mere problem, a mere absolutely time consuming problem, and a true desire, which is still problematic in terms of that thing which requires a resolution from or side. I don't know. You, let's say like this, you don't have a problem. If you're trying to think out an elephant, you don't have a problem by trying to think out stuff of that sort. Because you already are capable of calling to your mind that idea. It doesn't qualify as a problem because it gets resolved almost as instantly as you are presented with that. But you have a problem if you have things like, I don't know, hunger. If you're hungry, you need to consume something. Maybe sometimes that whole list of actions that need to be performed in order to satiate those needs that come from the problems that we end up making ours or part of our own existence takes quite a lot of time. And in some cases, once again, there are some things that are by the mere nature of the things that need to be done to solve them problematic, but which, because we are willing to do them ourselves, can be then classified as desires. It's I don't know. Unavoidably, it's problematic for everybody to play things like, I guess, bingo or poker or whatever, or yeah, go and get a lottery ticket. Things of that sort are problematic, but in the hopes of a proper resolution for things of that sort, in ways of trying to solve the equation that will allow for ourselves to do a right choice and whatnot, in all of that, then it is that we can actually find true satisfaction of sorts that I wouldn't say gets to eradicate anything, but yeah, at the very least, gets to make our present selves not struggle as much, and all of that is good. All of that is in itself nice. And I have to say, once again, tracing back to the beginning, it's good to see that, yeah, existence is not so problematic. I think so. At present day, not only nothing is actually happening around in the rest of the world in the bigger scheme of things, but also all the other more subjective problems are not occupying as much of, of a central place on existence itself. It's still possible to find oneself struggling with other aspects of reality, with other corridors of being, but still they are much more aligned with this idea of, yeah, there are truly things that I enjoy, not much more. They're not things that I have to suffer because I want to do them, or things that I have to struggle so much because I am interested in them. It's just the pleasure of the, the doing what might still be complicated. I guess I don't know. Trying to talk here, I assume one of, if not the easiest example, is always things of this sort, basically. What in itself is hard, not because the action is unequivocally hard for every single human being, but actually because, given the conditions of somebody like me, it is complicated more than the average. So, just by those things alone, it already might not be as easy. Therefore, it could be, once again, easier to access something far less difficult, but maybe there are not as many rewards as this one, or as as what experiences of this sort are capable of offering. Also, let's say so. It's good, and I have to say, it's nice to see that we can also, as always, try to aim to have more of those things instead of just struggling so much with the actual part of existence, which is just to try to find a way to at least even identify which things do we actually want to do, or even more unavoidably, in the worst case scenarios, not even have times to do things that are truly performed out of passion, out of interest, out of a sense of fulfillment, and out of that side that brings joy to life. Not having those things, and not having the possibility to find ourselves in all of those places is, it's it's not something revolutionary, or anything new, but yeah, it's bad, and still being here is well. So yeah, that's, let me, I guess, let me try for a second. I don't I don't actually try to think that much deeply about what I say. It's just a continuous effort to keep on talking. But okay, let me drink some water. It has been lately, in these past days, many things happen. One of them has been, yeah, something funny. I guess I keep on forgetting that we are not here to actually. I will say otherwise. Accelerate everything as much as we can. Suddenly, uh, I am still very incapable of admitting the personal conditions of my own existence in a proper level of understanding what subjectiveness fully means and whatnot, and encompassing everything that has to deal with myself inside of its own proper, yeah, or inside of its own proper brackets of things that are truly pertaining to this one existence, and not that might be identified in similar ways in others. It's complicated. I will assume to make so much of a self-identity in a way in which also that's my biggest caution to not make it so much of, oh wow, yeah, this is something to actually take pride on, or something that becomes an important role in the way in which one like me lives and whatnot. It's actually, yeah, I don't talk about that, but I don't like that whole side of, I I was thinking about it. Identitarianism, I think it's called identity basically, and the modes of associating identity with other things that do not actually bring any kind of benefit. They are more than anything just, I guess, if you want to reduce it to something, dialectical discussions or conflicts or utterly subjective conclusions that do not lead to advances in any other mode of dealing with the world. So, in a certain way, or not even a certain way, most certainly, in almost all cases, it's very hurtful or very unnecessary to actually find ourselves so much taking pride in what we as subjects or as subjective beings and whatnot gets to do and gets to experience. So it's complicated to slowly frame it properly. What is it that one is without once again letting all of the other things take so much of a central stage in that whole scheme of, well, yeah, these things constitute myself, and I identify them as good or bad. Those value judgments are hard to not possess. So yeah, the point was still not exactly to just say, "Oh, yeah, such a hard thing, such a hard process," but rather, even if it happens, it's good to sit here and to still talk about the stuff. And then what I was saying was, and one of the many fun things that I got to slowly see, or to finally, I guess, reinterpret differently is I always like to sit here and approach things with a lot more rapidness than what the average can actually do, I guess. Not because it is not do, but actually it's comfortable doing, let's say, instead. And so it can be a sort of a staple of here that I actually go way too fast sometimes talking about things, and I end up unavoidably not allowing so much space for processing of information. And I had been sort of hit in the wrist, slapped in the wrist, as they will say, not directly, but rather in conversation with the knowledge that one acquires. It was from like three, four different areas. Something very interesting is to see. Let me articulate it in this way, I guess. The necessity to have slower speech doesn't come actually from uh, just a processing aspect of, oh well, yeah, we can talk slower because some people actually require it. So we are going to adapt to the lowest common denominator that everyone has, and from there we are slowly going to correct and to readjust, so to speak. It's more along the lines of actually we literally just have these things that seem to work for us. We have, in this case, we have ideas that we need to interpret. And in the process of doing that, of interpreting whatever is it that is being presented to us, we also need to have enough time to actually get all the things that are being displayed to us. And the fundamental issue or mistake is because I already understand them, I can assume that it is okay to rapidly move across them. It's very hard to do that. I guess, I keep always forgetting. Yeah, I don't understand the stuff, and just because I do that, everyone else does. It's it's part of the process of becoming a proper teacher, I guess, to understand that, yeah, you need to be patient and you need to say it so that everyone gets to develop themselves to that same point. and the structures are properly cemented and whatnot. So, unavoidably, it's beneficial to see that we are here now with a lot more certainty compared to before, and it slowly moves more into that space of, yeah, yeah, all of us who are willing to extract anything might do so because we are facilitating it as much as we actually can instead of just making it harder and harder for anyone. Next step, I already know that, but it's still very complicated. I am not even accustomed to talking slowly. Even me with my friends, I have that tendency to uh, be a mess, to talk incredibly fucking fast. So yeah, it's it's actually a huge struggle to also be here. Going consciously at a different pace than what is my normal one. But it's, I guess, yeah, it's a general necessity, not just secluded to this space. But yeah, anyways, the point is, here we are. And, not just from that side, we need to do that, but also, once again, I was saying, I found that to be a slap in the wrist from many different sides in this whole week that passed of consuming information. Something funny that also came to me was to see from many different disciplines how this phenomenon in particular is interpreted and how this phenomena is also discussed as a necessary step for many other cases. I was slowly, I think I am sort of obligated to go through, or I guess not obligated, I'm forced to go through neuroscience things more. I I always liked actually neuroscience. I think it's complicated to be capable of confessing that more properly because, in a certain way, neuroscience is quite a complicated field. It's an incredibly complicated field, actually, but it's still utterly funny. And the point being that we can actually see how, from that perspective, it's also more useful to slowly do things rather than to just speed up and move as fast as possible. Suddenly, neurons themselves don't work as good. There is something that I saw also very on a different discussion. The consumption of content at a faster pace is still possible and allows people to integrate, acquire, and process information at not so much or not so dissimilar rates compared. Once again, I said the faster rates of consumption doesn't equal lesser rates of consumption in terms of the volume of things that get to be processed. You get to process more, maybe you get to have a little bit more of loss also, but the losses don't surpass the quantity extra that you get to, I guess, that you get to assess. So it's it's sort of interesting to see that, yeah, actually we can move through information quite a lot faster, but at the same time it's still incredibly complicated to ask that. I have to accept, and I have to personally say so, it's sadly most people don't even try their best to consume things in that way. I never even created a proper stance on that whole idea, but I think if I have to argument this stuff, I would probably say that something funny, okay, very little tangent, let me say it like this. Something that probably yeah, the thing that indicates to me the most why we are probably incapable of at all trying to talk out the rapidness with which we are capable of consuming content and whatnot is not truly directed at the reality of us being incapable of doing so, but rather the way in which we have integrated stuff into or similar discourse related to stuff that is in direct discussion with all of these brain rot ideas and all of this brain rot content that seems to be classified as overly fast produced and attention catching. So, in a certain way, somehow it became natural for us to associate anything that has also to do with the rapidness of discussions and with the intensity at which we are capable of transmitting, processing, and acquiring all the different information that we're capable of seeing and hearing and yeah, placing in front of us and our brains to consume as not actually something good, but rather a modern or a consequence of the postmodern entertainment that gets consumed, created, and made for the sole purpose of entertainment and nothing else. So, by having allowed that into the normal mode of consuming anything that has to do with rapidness, we also have allowed ourselves to completely dissociate the possibility of or disembodied the possibility of realizing that at all the rapidness with which we can process things in itself is also associated directly with the amount of information that we have to go through. So, we do not get to talk about the rapidness with or at which we can go through information that possesses an importance to us because it is directly in discussion with more than anything else the damage that we're doing to ourselves if we get accustomed to consuming things at a faster rate. Once again, things only are fast because they are associated with brain rot. They are not fast because they are associated with productiveness. I guess, yeah, very slowly, assuming that we are as much of a capitalistic society as we have always proven to be, we're slowly going to correct, course correct is the term, exactly, in, into realizing that, yeah, we might actually need to consume things at a faster rate. We might actually need the two live, I guess, 1.25x lives instead of just 1.0. So, yeah, anyways, that's my, I guess, rapid analysis of the situation. I think it, yeah, I haven't thought about it in that way, but sadly it seems to be that, yeah, we do not get to talk about anything outside of brain rot that can also be fast so far. Or in the mainstream discussion about this whole idea of, oh, yeah, I can watch things at, I don't know, point 1 or point 25 or point 5 speed. So, yeah. Anyways, let me, before I get back, or before I get back to the point itself, sorry, let me take a tiny break. Why? Idle break. That's the name of the game. Let me take a tiny idle break. Thank you very much. Um, I don't know, 1 minute less, more. Hmm. what the fuck? Sorry. I actually plugged and unplugged the mic, so I kinda hope it didn't change anything that much. It seems to be a little bit lower in volume, but it also seems to not be. But I should actually check myself. No, it's it's like a good idea, you know. Wow, error. Thank you, Twitch. Anyways, I didn't need to check my own audio. Uh, it seems to be recording. I guess I don't know. Wow, thank you so much. Anyways, uh, I was on as far as I can remember. Speaking slowly. So yeah, we're slowly working on that. I guess it's complicated, as I was saying. There is also information suggesting that yeah, we're not truly obligated to have all of that happen. Sadly, it's not truly a complete requirement. It does serve many purposes, like also something funny in relation to how the way in which we can interpret, decode, decipher, unite, and be capable of associating all the ideas that are being presented to us once the cadence and all of the other things that are in direct relation to the contents of any sentence. This whole idea of interpretation, the first layer of analysis, being a lot swifter because the person that is speaking takes a lot more time and whatnot. It's also very useful, but at the same time, counter argument, something very funny happens that is continuous practice, active attention towards what is being, in this case, heard, doesn't actually make it so that you always need, I don't know, to hear somebody speak at a. What is this rate? We don't even have proper technology to rate that, I guess, but something like making it absolutely up. Somebody at a 70 words per minute rate or so, that is the normal cadence at which professors tend to speak at when they are trying to explain things and to take enough time. It doesn't mean that you always need to do that. It means rather, I guess the opposite now, that it actually can happen that once we get accustomed to slowly increasing the speed, or not even increasing the speed, once we get accustomed to understanding what is being said, it's in a certain way you don't actually need to think about the words that you're hearing. You understand the ideas even if you don't need to fully picture what is being said. You understand that I am saying a word, but you don't need to picture in your own mind the idea of a word being said. You understand that the content is being expressed, and you at that same moment can already associate that idea with all the other meanings that are being expressed in correlation with the central idea itself. So, in the decodification of any message, you need to lose so much time, I guess. And that allows for a faster processing of information, or a less cluttered processing of information, I guess. And that ends up being quite useful, quite wonderful, I must say. So, unavoidably, my conclusion is yeah, we are very good in that sense. And we are slowly, yes, going to continue accelerating or going back and forth. At least I cannot also bear to speak so fucking slowly the whole day. So, sorry. But yeah, also, anyways, welcome, Spikel. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, evening, afternoon, night. Welcome. That's the whole point. But yeah, um, something else am I forgetting? Ah, yeah. And another thing that I also remember is something very funny about the it is still related to the cadence of words and whatnot, in the intentionality of how things are being expressed, the part in which, because we get to say things slowly enough, we can also, those different accentuations in what we are saying that directly influence the interpretation that is being given to something. Once we pause intentionally enough on something, the way in which that idea itself gets understood becomes much more profound than the moments in which we go across everything that can be expressed about the certain idea that we are trying to talk about without at all regarding anything at inside of all of those ideas as more important than anything else. It makes it much harder, let's say, for somebody who is not so accustomed to trying to understand anything that is being expressed to understand and be capable of placing in its own most important pedestal what is the central idea once the narrator doesn't do a good enough job at explaining things at a lower space. Once again, intentionality makes it easier. It's I guess you can say it like this: a tool for the deciphering. Once again, it's not truly an obligation. You don't need to, you don't have that given to you at all when you are reading somebody. Yet you still are capable of making it up and understanding and placing it in its own proper place. Repetition is also something that plays a huge role, but learning and all of its ramifications is an incredibly interesting topic anyway. So basically, that trying to, in this case, going slower. It's actually useful. So sorry for always not being capable of doing that. But yeah. Anyways, besides that, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about that? I, as I said, that's something that I haven't actually tried to do. I, as I expressed, it felt like pretty much a slap on the wrist when I saw, like, I don't know, from five different sources things that were related to, oh yeah, yeah, you know, if you do this action from this perspective, it's nice. Then if you do it from this other perspective, it's also nice. Then if you also do it from this other perspective, it's also nice. It's like, I don't know, you can justify eating a spoon of chocolate because it's tasty, but you can also do so because it's healthy for your body, because you can also do so because it might be beneficial for your personal diet and it might cater to the necessities that you need to fulfill in your own subjective experience of alimentation and all the things that you get to do and whatnot. So in that same sense, it's complicated to talk about things of this sort because, yeah, the all-encompassing ways in which it can be justified, and yeah, once again, doesn't mean that there is no counter argument, but sadly, it the counter argument doesn't fully make it in this case unvalid. It just makes it possible to slowly get better at it, but at the same time, it takes quite a fucking lot to do so. I guess, yeah, sadly, as always, I forget that I don't know, probably like 1 year already being here or so, talking like this. So sometimes you forget that, I guess, I forget my fucking roots. And I forget that also when I started, I don't think I have to say probably. I can actually check and see that I also used to speak a lot slower, blah, blah, blah. Also, the things that are the real things, I don't know if they are real. So, I wouldn't be capable of calling things that are related to learning truly real. I can only try to do my best to subjectively explain what I understand about the things that we are talking about. That is the biggest caveat of things. Unavoidably, I cannot explain things in an objective way. I don't know if it is even possible to do so, but I can try. And yeah, Even then, uh, sadly, more so thanks to philosophy, uh, many things might not all be real. Like, I don't know, consciousness, soul, existence, the world. Kind of complicated to have many certainties and many complete, certain, real, irrevocable proofs of things. Like, oh, yeah, yeah. What I always say personally, I know that I know stuff. I don't know exactly how I know it. How do I get to be fully capable of knowing that I know about it? How can I understand that what I know is being understood by other people in the same way and whatnot? We have many presumptions, but we cannot establish fully what is in some cases real. But it doesn't truly also need to be a problem. We I guess, in average, we don't truly care that much about what is or isn't the most common found thing in all of this. So yeah, we'll talk about stuff, I guess, and it's fine. But yeah, I guess that's it. As I was saying about that, I personally don't have anything else to say. Uh, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. It has been like 20 seconds. I'm pretty sure if I didn't have the capacity to come up with anything else, there is probably nothing else that I should have said. I hope so. I don't know. It was like as I was saying, like a week or so of consuming things related to all of that out of nowhere. It wasn't even because I wanted to, because synchronicities. You want to utilize young language? Okay, because many synchronicities happen around me, I ended up finding myself inclined to analyze stuff in that way and come to an unavoidable conclusion. So yeah, basically that. But no, yeah, nothing else to say. Basically, just have patience, talk slowly, or talk appropriately, intentionally, and things will go in a better direction. Thank you very much. Anyways, I don't know. I was next thing, and I was actually struggling quite a lot. I didn't realize that the biggest issue was because I never feel good talking about that. But yeah, I haven't. What I literally have in this case, if you watch at the screen for 1 second at the stream, you can see me, the tiny potato guy with lips, red eyes, and text above my head, and it says, "Today, mm, colon, consider uninstalling stuff!" Exclamation mark. Why does it say that there? Wow. Does it have any explanation, or is it as in any other case? Random text. No. No. Today, exactly, it isn't random text. I had when I never truly. It seems to be that somehow I am still incredibly incapable of possessing a PC of my own. I am somehow in accordance with the rules of the world. It seems to be that I am somebody quite old, not old, just adult enough to have many legal accesses to things, but at the same time, I'm incredibly incapable of handling things fully. I was completely unaware of how much shovelware I possessed in my own PC. So yeah, today I also come to you to say, consider uninstalling, I don't know, everything that you don't need to have in your PC. It has been quite wonderful to do that. Uh, I always complain out, oh yeah, this thing lags so much and this thing struggles so intensely. Today it hasn't actually been Twitch that has been lying and whatnot, funnily enough. So it's incredibly funny to see that actually. But yeah, um, optimizing and making things run better slowly by making sure that everything that is not necessary to be present also gets removed has helped quite a lot. And slowly we find ourselves to be here with more and more optimizations done. I don't, I haven't, personally, I don't even want to open that. There is this, I don't think that's an expression in English, right? They don't, I haven't heard anybody say, open that melon up. In Spanish, it exists. It's all like, oh yeah, uh, discuss this thing that might be a little bit uncomfortable of at all mentioning. But yeah, I don't know. I always have a fucking huge concern with optimizations, unavoidably personally, because it's certainly coming more than anything else from that perspective of, yeah, I have a fucking bad PC, and I can say most certainly that it is wonderful to see more, more modern technologies run in older or more modern programs run in older technologies like mine, not because they force it to the maximum, but rather because they are properly optimized. I can actually kill my PC by trying to run some games probably. But I can also have the pleasure of playing many modern creations because they were made not exactly with the optimization at its core or at its center, but unavoidably as one of the many things that it has well done. Being properly optimized is another of those benefits, and yeah, in this case, it's very good to see that, yeah, actually, optimizing things is good. I don't want that's what I was saying, and I don't want to truly say, oh yeah, it will be fun one day to learn to code. It's an incredibly huge commitment to actually learn to code, and even more to learn to code. I guess I haven't. That's one of the many things that I cannot get angry for in terms of the discussion about AI and whatnot. I am actually looking forward to the moment in which we can utilize AI to properly, not as you can use it right now, but I am pretty sure it cannot do it well enough. I remember, I don't know, one of the many things that did happen was the some tweets going viral about how there is one AI that I think it is Semini or Semini, however you say it in English, um, that wants to almost kill itself, or actually it uninstalls itself when you ask it to do some programming stuff. So yeah, AI is currently not ready to do that. It's incredibly unprepared so far, but in the future, it seems to be that it will be working and it will be doing itself properly. So yeah, look forward to that. And I personally look forward to that because I want the day which we can ask, I guess, just automate the process of having to work through, I don't know, 100, a million. How big are the code of games nowadays? How big is the code of a AAA production game nowadays? How huge are those lists of codes? I I don't think it's that unreal to say, oh well, yeah, 4 billion lines or such. Some entire physics systems and whatnot probably can occupy at least 100,000 or so. So I don't know, a million at the very least seems realistic. So yeah, optimizing stuff like that the human nowadays cannot do. We are slowly, we are sadly in that moment in time in which we have made way too many things which we cannot at all organize or properly monitor as much as we should actually try to do. One of the, yeah, that's, I mean, that's an incredibly depressing discussion, but yeah, one of the many consequences of having accepted so much that we were the kings of the earth was to not realize that we should have also tried to limit how much we can so easily accept fucking upgrading stuff. It's not so much about upgrading, brother. It's also about learning to do the best with the things that we have in our hands. We don't need to be creating, I don't know, nanometric microprocessors. That's a possibility. That's not a requirement. What we also need to be doing is to learn to fucking do stuff slowly enough and properly enough. What if technology was more accessible not because we produce more of it, but rather because it was in itself less costly to produce? Ah, but we cannot talk about stuff like that. So, anyways, I'm already starting to get angry. Excuse me. But yeah, the point was optimize goal. And yeah, in my case, at least as a bare minimum, I have been slowly optimizing this PC to its maximum over the last, I guess, I don't know, last 2 3 months or so. It has been pretty fun and pretty interesting to actually do. So it's nice and it's something I guess that I will try to encourage more. I will only start with my vicinity and whatnot. It's funny to always introduce those things, but sadly, it's at the same time, it's an incredibly hard discussion to have as always. Why? Because people are not accustomed at all to hear that they needed to optimize. One of the many, once again, sad consequences of an accelerated world is how easily we can sometimes part with stuff. I don't know. There was an example that I had in mind of, oh yeah, you know what? We need to actually upgrade. We must upgrade always. I don't know. I don't think that every electronical apparatus that has 5 years is automatically obsolete. If it can do its functions properly enough, I don't think it's all that realistic to say, oh yeah, you know what? We need to spend money. We need to submit to the system. We need to consume more. Yes. No, it's incredibly healthy, brother. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's good. So yeah, that's my point basically. Please consider getting getting more time to actually do the best that you can with the things that you have instead of looking towards the things that you don't have to wish about to dream about how the world itself will be better once you have something that you actually don't possess that you might never get to have, but that will somehow replace what you already have in your hands. Since a promise that might never be fulfilled is internally better than something that you can actually manipulate, but which requires a lot more effort from you. So, yeah, something along those lines, I guess. But yeah, that's as I was trying to say. That's why we had that title there. Now, let me see. Let me drink some more water. That's the next step. Why is anyway? Doesn't matter. For some reason, the phone started to highlight like every single message. I don't even know why, but it's fine. Whatever. It didn't break anything. I hope. Yeah. Whatever. Twitch being Twitch, basically. The point was there was meditations. I guess I don't know. Everything to some degree is a meditation here. It's like I don't know. I I I assume everything is an opinion. To some, the easiest way to filter them is that everything is an opinion. So yeah, that's the first part of the title, and the other one, yeah, sadly, modernity as a whole is very funny. I guess I had one to some degree incorporating the modern life that we had to live, to go through and whatnot, in all of those tiny things, tiny conversations. So yeah, it's funny, but at the same time, it's also still just partially being talked about. Why? Yeah, okay. Let's actually do this. Me, let me drink some more water. Let me take another idle break, and after that, I will actually come back and say center on that. I guess it's literal the title, so I should at some point instead of just utilizing titles as an excuse for something that I never at all mention, instead of being a scam of the earth and clickbaiting, as you could say otherwise. Let me actually talk about modernity. I don't also it's something funny. I don't do that because I don't like to talk about the world. I am somebody in some way, not I guess the word isn't exactly self-centered, but not somebody willing to talk about the world as a whole. So yeah, it's complicated. But anyway, let us let us say let's just try. Um, let cheese try. Wow. Anyways, sorry. I'm not a comedian. I shouldn't do so shit. It's a fucking horrible. What? I didn't transition. There it is. There we go. Now we are back. I I like that sometimes you can actually forget how to do some incredibly basic stuff. Anyways, the point was I was trying to come up with how to talk about this without feeling like it's just me once again getting angry. It's complicated, but we can actually do it. Trust in the process and things will go well, I guess. I don't know. I have been consuming way too much information, as I said, like some minutes ago, probably. And what has happened in none of that is a very big glaring conclusion. There is a certain concept that we are, we're not actually talking about that much. It seems to be a common thread amongst many events in life that is called accelerationism. The main idea behind that is basically we need to increase the rates of production and the ways in which everything is performed. We need to make it faster. And one of the many things in which that also happens is by further separating, dividing, and what is it, specializing, being capable of creating further and further more categories and subcategories between things and whatnot. And one of the many funny things of all of that is also how we get to quote unquote rationally justify doing things for the sake of accelerating the progress that we get to have. It's, if I don't understand it bad or incorrectly, it's based, the mode of understanding accelerationism, the easiest is, okay, we had these older promises of uh, ah, I can't let me try to think about it. Will I have to actually Google it? It's literally Brazil's motto. It's something like order and progress. Sorry, that's it. Sorry, it was literally two words. It was literally two words. Okay, but yeah, in the way in which order and progress was transformed in this new resignification of the words themselves, somehow it became an assumption that we actually need to order everything more so that we can progress faster in the world. Something very funny of that was the way in which we slowly compart- com- compartmentalized the whole knowledge that we used to have about things in many different subcategories, and not just subcategories as a general claim, but rather different fields. And something very funny is also, once again, because of this, how in modern days we're capable of having as many big discoveries in any major science, because something funny is how we're incapable of at all possessing so much of a big project on any one place at a time, since it needs to be something always happening from many different multiple disciplines, and that might as well only get verified once it gets observed in different places. And why am I trying to make this whole argument? What's the point of what I'm actually saying? Something funny is, in many ways, knowledge. I guess I can also sell myself of the example that I already elaborated before. Why is it useful also to talk slowly, for example? The different arguments don't come just from one place. The different disciplines inform one same subject, even if they are not exactly at all correlated. The, the conclusions are capable of addressing one subject, and that happens in many different fields. It's, once again, I can do that. The easiest way is for me to talk about what I actually know. Psychology, I know about that. So something very funny is to see how we can talk out the mind. There are way too many disciplines and way too many paths, methods, and whatnot that try to talk out the same thing from many different perspectives. And in all of that, something funny that happens is how we make it look like it is necessary to have so much specialization and whatnot. But we're actually not progressing that much. It's, I guess, if you want to trace some comparisons with, once again, relying on the whole already explained model of faster versus slower speaking, okay, it seems that by creating more rigorous methods of analysis, we might be capable of creating more rigorous methods of explanations about the things that we're trying to talk about and whatnot. On one hand, it is an unavoidable truth. On the other one, it is a misleading way of conceiving the world, because, yeah, this is already getting complex, but let me say it like this. The ways in which we are accustomed to talk about the different events of the world do not directly correlate with the ways in which things happen. We are capable of moving a lot faster through events themselves, not because we do not care about them, but rather because processing is not the same as exactly doing. And so the myth of, wow, yeah, we must make sure that we have as many bases covered before doing anything doesn't come from a true place of interest in the properness and well-being for projects, but rather, I guess, in an analyzed anxiety over the final results that are produced and whatnot. I assume probably one of the most obvious explanations is if you want to go with the historical analysis, how we have already had many instances in which previous actions that were not as carefully taken lead to consequences that ended up being incredibly unforeseen. So we are kind of avoiding that more than anything else, but at the same time, it's not just that. It's true that that happens, unavoidably that happens, but it doesn't fully justify it. It's not the main argument. It's not the main thing for as to why we worry so much about all of that. But yeah, it's once again it is still part of that. But as I was trying to say, it happens that we have way too many things in that whole list of stuff that is separated, different disciplines and different knowledges that are accessible through different pathways from many fields in this case. And something funny that has been happening to me is how incredibly boring it is getting to see that I am not really understanding anything new. I have been lately, that's one of the many things that I wanted to talk about. I have been studying a lot, and I feel like I am, to some degree, utterly wasting my time. But by seeing how many times I have to read the same thing said in 20 different ways. Wow. It's so surprising to see somehow how unwilling to accept and to make the peace with the reality the human is in some cases. How utterly incapable of accepting that what might be true could be true. Thus, so we needed to keep on asking and begging for proofs of some sort. It's like we have not yet fully divorced from this constant fear of reality. So I suddenly see that here it happens way too much. We are also wait the fuck down. Why it's just lag? I literally am not touching the PC. What the fuck is your problem? Oh, anyways, I was saying it suddenly happens way too much that I see how incredibly funny it is that yeah, somehow we are not having way too way too many or new or useful discoveries in all the places that we call. So yeah, I don't know. I assume that something to properly or to positively take out from all of this is also how easy it is to actually get to know more of the world than what we could otherwise do in I guess in the future. Once we get to discover even more things, it's let's say like this. And this whole idea of being a grown-up human being and being a human being capable of taking care of oneself, it doesn't actually take that much time to be capable of integrating all of the different pieces of knowledge that are capable of informing and usefully constructing a way in which our life is capable of being sustained healthily. So it does not need to be a huge time investment for us right now. We're still at in a time in which any person can. I cannot exactly say when. I guess more than anything else, unavoidably, because it also is still predicated on the social environment and whatnot. But if every other social factor is properly given, I would assume that somebody at around the age of 25 or so can be more than fully independent. I would still say, I don't know, yeah. I know it directly goes against some other things, mostly unavoidably. Uh, trying to dodge the elephant in the room. Yeah, we can try to talk about that. We supposedly were people who don't have any kind of fear and whatnot, and who are willing to talk about many things. But yeah, the main language that we utilize to talk about this, one of the many main countries that it has an incredibly opposed view of that idea, in which the age of that event is much lower. Said 25, okay, that's not at all the case. Supposedly it gets to be a much lower number, but we are not to be discussing that. I am just going to, once again, circumvent directly mentioning it, and yeah, acknowledge that there is that part there, I assume. But I don't know, personally, thus far, I'm not going to address it much further. It's if there is no actual need to do so, that's a gate that will remain unopened thus far. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for understanding. The point is that yeah, it's possible for any human being to acquire enough knowledge to be I wouldn't say self-sustaining, that's not the proper expression, but a functional human being in the world at around the age of 25. It's I guess more than anything else also trying to trace that with the whole idea of cerebral maturation and whatnot. It also is interesting to see that we have many ways of talking about, in this case, psychology and how different concepts apply to the ways in which we see the world and whatnot. So it also is necessary to be capable of addressing that. Yeah, by the time by which your what is it, prefrontal cortex is finally fully baked, you should be capable of having acquired enough information to be self-reliant, I guess, or functional enough. Let's say it's it shouldn't be so much of an issue of wow, yeah, the world isn't allowing for that to happen, but rather that the world isn't as capable of stating that as much. I will make the case that sadly it doesn't happen that we hear that generally being said or stated or pronounced or demonstrated in any way. It's more along the lines of wow, yeah, you either have it or you don't. Sadly, you either can or can't learn how to fly once Mama and Papa Bird throw the baby bird off the nest. Baby bird can or can't learn how to fly in the go. That's how things work. Not in our case, but once again, that's what I was saying. With it is complicated. The mythos that we are utilizing to explain our current modes of existence are quite complicated and are quite useless in some cases, but at the same time, nobody wants to actually talk about that. It's hurtful to address the ways in which the modes of discussing, seeing the world and whatnot are affecting us so much. Something also that makes it even more difficult is that we have, for some reason, assumed so easily and accepted so rapidly that oh yeah, the fastest way to reach the conclusion is Nietzsche expressed that God is dead, trying to symbolize that we have lost so much the importance of what is the spiritual explanations. What still happens is we have I guess, a fragmented conception of the world in which many different myths still pull the threads in our existence, even if we are not capable of directly addressing them, more so because sadly, in a certain way, something that happens is myths are very infantile, so we cannot actually expect things to be discussed honestly if we cannot even make sense of oh yeah, I don't know, you're following a certain archetype, for example. to some degree, archetypes and archetypal characterizations and whatnot are incredibly infantile ways of consuming the world. So that's also why it's hard to talk about these sort of things. But yeah, the point that I was trying to make is sadly, we have things that are being misconstrued and misrepresented. I, I, I was capable of expressing it with, yeah, we have the claims of uh, order and progress, or progress and order, whichever order is it that it has, to explain the rest of the world and how somehow it is still correlated with the stuff like accelerationism. But many other events that are happening right now are associated to other similar narrations that we have about the world, which we don't talk about. Why? Because the human supposedly isn't so rated by any other external factor like, oh wow, yeah, this one phrase decides my fate. What are you talking about? I am a free person. How can a phrase that I might never utilize in my day to day life affect me? I don't know, Aurora. Time to look out, I guess. Uh, but yeah, that's the title itself of the stream. Without other else, I don't know. Do I have any other thing to say? Actually, I assume. I don't know. I still, yeah. Let me say this. I still have to read. What was it? The about the interpretation of dreams and whatnot from Freud. I remember I tried to talk about it the other day, but it's something that I haven't really realized until that point. I actually have, for some reason, seen way too much stuff about that already, so I will not find that many conclusions. But I need to still. So yeah, by when is it? Thursday probably. I will try to have it read. I hope it can help for anything. Next time, I have fucking fear. Yeah, I don't want to say actually. Oh yeah, let's talk in depth about the stuff. But I guess it is not proper to be a human incapable of at all struggling with one's fear. So it's meaningless to just say that we could do that without at all trying to do something to solve it. So yeah, at some point in the future, I guess we are going to try to utilize all of that in a meaningful way, even if unavoidably. Caveat: no one here is a professional. No, nothing being said here should be taken seriously. I guess easiest way to discard any responsibility, more so in the modern ways of technology and whatnot. No one here is somebody who you should be taken seriously. Consult a professional and blah 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 blah. Blah. That whole mediatic modes of presenting oneself. Once again, that modernity loves to utilize. But anyway, I said enough of a critic about something that still we're not going to change directly. So yeah, I guess now for real I don't have anything else to say. Uh, check the what is it? The schedule. Thank you very much. Check that. Something else. Check the Discord. I assume. Yeah, I don't know. I kinda I always whenever I think about that I remember something that I have already expressed. I don't know, or when I think out, oh yeah, this is the time to remember that it's subtext, brother. I'm pretty sure both you and me already know that. Wow, yeah. You want updates? Join the Discord. Join that place for updates. For changes in scale. It's obvious, Ben. Do we need to actually remind ourselves that every single time? Is it necessary? Isn't that sort of ridicule on my end to always do that? But yeah, join the Discord. Exclamation mark Discord if you want to stay tuned, I guess. I don't know. I am not planning to die, so there should be no change in schedule nor anything of that sort unless any other sort of event happens in the middle of all of that. But yeah, uh, look forward to it. That's all I can say. Anyways, that's it, I guess. I know. Right? Question mark? Can we? Should we? Are we morally liked? Morally not, right? Uh, we can actually skip it, right? Yeah. No, it's getting out if we miss that, right? So yeah. How would I guess? I don't know. Excuse. You want an excuse? Here you have one. I'm sleepy. Thank you very much. But yeah, how would they? How would night? How would life? Hire it, sleep, do things willfully. I guess that's the most important part out of that. But yeah, do things with intentionality, hopefully. So yeah, live. And until next time, even if we don't get to see ourselves, it was still a fucking wonderful time. It doesn't matter if there is a next time or not. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. Once again, as always, thanks for all. Thanks, I guess, particularly to Grespian and to Spikel. It has been a nice time, and yeah, look forward to next one. But more importantly, look forward to life itself, because that is our most precious gift. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, you already know. Be a decent human being. Thank you.